please do vote now. I'm still playing, so in this situation, I can actually still choose to do something else if I don't like what you guys are voting. But oh, Ella's voting as well. I don't know if that's a little bit cheating, though. That kind of feels a little bit like cheating. I don't know why, but. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly stream for Surviving the Aftermath. I'm Joanna from Iceflake Studios, one of our producers, and with me this time we have a very special guest. Please, everybody, welcome Ella Charmed, one of our most dedicated modders for Surviving the Aftermath. Welcome to the stream, Ella.
Hi, everybody.
We were teasing
Thanks
this
for
a
inviting
little.
me.
Yeah, of course. This has been such an amazing thing. For those of you who don't know, Ella has been with the game since I think almost from the very first like early access launch. I think you've been with us for a very long time, and it has been amazing to see. Like I remember, like from the beginning, see your post on our Paradox forum, and you doing all the mods, and like let me tell you, people, it was not easy to mod a game like Surviving the Aftermath because we were in early access. So that meant that every time we pushed out an update, poor Ella and everybody else had to update their mods to be compatible with that, and that is still a thing. But at least nowadays we're not pushing out updates that often as we were in early access. So I hope maybe it's a little bit easier nowadays. To do mods for Surviving the Aftermath. But anyway, it's been so amazing, just like seeing you like come with us throughout this journey, like always making mod for the game, and it's also a funny thing because it's like we're developing the game, but so are you, sort of, like you're kind of with us on this journey. So thank you for being here, and then of course like doing all the mods for us. It's been so amazing to see that.
Yeah, it was a great learning journey. It was a great introduction to Unity and C#. So learn everything from scratch right from the get-go and learning the game as well. So with all the bugs and it was fun.
Yeah, I'm sure you remember all the colonist stuck bugs that we had, and all of those. Yeah, those would have been a nightmare. But it's also been it's been super awesome. I think that's one of the reasons why Surviving the Aftermath has been such a special project. In a way, it has been all the community, people joining in the forums, and like I've seen you post there like so many times to people who've had like technical issues and tried to help them and everything. And it's been such a pleasure. Anyway, anybody who's in the chat who is interested in modding or anything like that, now is your chance. Please ask Ella all the questions that you might have. She is an extremely knowledgeable person, just based on the fact that she's been able to constantly keep modding and everything like that. I don't know if you know everything, but I know that you have been a real success with all the mods that you've been doing for us and everything. So thank you so much again for those. But going to the topic of modding, so Ella, like you said that you had to learn everything from the scratch. So you haven't been doing mods before Surviving the Aftermath, is that so?
Not with Unity.
Okay. Have you what kind of games have you been doing mods for before then?
Oh, I started with The Sims 3. Those that know my name from my blog, yeah. So that's why I started from. I started with a very simple table mesh. So what I like to do is once I figure out something, I like to write tutorials for it. That's how I retain knowledge. So everything that I do, I always create like a how-to, like a short documentation for it, mainly for my own use.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you come back to it in like 3 months or 6 months, you forgot everything.
Yeah.
It's mainly for my own memory retention so that I know a place to go for me to pick it up again quickly. So that's what I do generally. So I did tutorial for when I learned Blender and meshing, creating a table in the Sims 3. Then I progressed from that with different mods.
Oh.
So the final big one that I did for the Sims 3 was the routing fixes for the walls. Yeah, so that was the big project.
Yeah, I can like totally. I've used Play Sims 3 myself as well back in the day, so I know like it had a big extensive modding community and everything. Sims games I think have always had pretty extensive modding communities, but it's amazing to see somebody because I always thought of them as like for me, mods are just something that they kind of appear from out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden, you have a mod that helps you do things or makes something more interesting and everything like that. And I absolutely love that. But it's always been like sort of like a magic thing to me as well. But I suppose that's life, you know. Some people know what to do and everything. But so if you've been modding since Sims 3, you've been modding for quite a long time then. Like how long? Can you give me an estimate?
Sims 3 was the big one that I did mostly. The others I just dabble in, but I never published them because I didn't have time to provide support for it.
Mm-hmm.
So other games like Surviving Mars and Big Pharma, they're all like little things that I just tweak, but I never published them. It's just for my own use. So the other thing was that I jumped into Aftermath was because there's a mod tool right from the start.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to other games where people have to figure out the DLL injection and everything to do the brute force in the modding. But for Aftermath, it's provided. But the I guess the limitation for the mod tool was that we were limited to creating the assets that were allowed for the game. So I haven't figured out the script injection and all that stuff yet.
Yeah, it's been I have to say like following the game development side of it, there's been a lot of things where we've had to kind of redo things, obviously with the early access of having like when we released the game, it was nowhere near this complete. So having to like just try and inject more options for modding, and I do think that we're not nowhere near done that with that yet. Like I would like to see even more modding options. And I'm sure you would like to see more modding options as well for the game. But hey, can you like for those people who don't know your work, can you tell me a little bit about like what kind of mods you've created for Surviving the Aftermath? Like I know there's been like so many of them, but maybe like highlight a few of your own personal favorites. If you can choose a favorite from your own mods, I don't know. Is that like favoring kids over another kid? I don't know.
I think the biggest one is Resource Factory because I reuse the Fish Factory model. I just basically read the wiki and transferred what I learned and then created mods from the two wikis that you guys created, the events wiki and the buildings wiki. So those are my main two mods. Yeah. And the one reverse engineering I was able to do was to figure out how Silva did the cheat mod. So then I learned from reverse engineering his mods mainly and learn how he did that.
Yeah.
I think and from then I also reverse engineered the game and figure out how to extract the stockpile.
Yeah.
And that's how I created the mega stockpile.
Oh yeah, there's that one as well. Yeah. I think the cheat mod seems to be quite a like very popular mod. Like people wanting to get the cheats enabled.
It's a great tool. It's a great tool to learn the game. And of course, when you're modding and you want to test your mods, you can't be expected to play the whole game. So we just use those debug mods, check boxes and stuff to just speed up the progress, right?
Yeah, I know, and I mean,
I'm so thankful for that ability.
Yeah, and I have to say, I have to give kudos to everybody who can actually figure out the cheat menu because that as well has been living its own life throughout the development of the game. Like some of them, the things that we have there have been there for ages. Some are not functional anymore because they were at some point and then they've not been removed. Some of them I don't even know myself. Even after like being with the game for so many years, there's still a little bit of a mystery for me. But yeah, so definitely kudos for everybody who can figure that out. At least for now, we are not going to be providing examples on how to use the cheat menu. I think it's more like an achievement for those people who can kind of use it, but let's see. And we actually have a question in the chat where this is actually one of our designers who's asking you a question. So what would you like to mod in the game next that's not yet available in Surviving the Aftermath?
Not yet available. That's a very big because I have a lot of things that I want to learn how to do, like UI, creating new UI stuff, and main thing is to figuring out if I can zoom out further. So that's another thing that I'm learning. But in terms of, I guess, what sort of modding things, I already have so many projects. Like figuring out the mod tool, like how does a mod tool, if I click something, how does it reflect in the game, the mechanics?
Yeah.
What is it that I'm affecting in the game itself? So figuring that out is what is the time consuming thing. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things I think in Surviving the Aftermath that we've kind of wanted to make moddable, but just really haven't had the time. I mean, we're all human, and we have to make sure that we're able to provide updates for the game that are still interesting and work and everything like that. So of course that's been a little bit of a sacrifice that we've had to make, that we haven't been able to really do all the updates that we wanted to, and like just make sure that we get everything moddable. But maybe in the future we'll have more things. At least that's my personal hope, just trying to make it more accessible for more people. Ella, when, like, you said that you've been modding for quite a while now, so if you would, like, if let's say somebody in the chat or like who's watching this later on is interested in starting modding, what would be like the starting steps that you would recommend to them? Oh, we just got to vote on the game for the catastrophe chat. If anybody wants to vote and decide what's the catastrophe that we're going to be having next, vote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 for the catastrophes. But yeah, anyway, back to the question at hand. Sorry. Yeah, so like I said, new player, somebody wants to start modding. What would you recommend that they start with? Like, what's the number one thing that you would do?
I think just read the wiki, follow the instructions, and anything that you don't know, just ask in the Discord or in the forums. Yeah, that's how I started. So anything I don't know, I just ask and somebody answered. Yeah. So anything that I didn't get a timely answer for, I just use our good friend Google, the search bar. So the trick is learning what questions to ask, right? I think that's the main drawback about learning. We don't ask the right questions. So
yeah. Like, is it just like you're asking something like in a more complex way, or like what, can you like explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, it's just the terms that we use, sometimes the vocabulary. So a lot of the documentation for programming especially, they use terms and the jargon, assuming that people know these computer terms. Yeah. So one of the most difficult thing is learning what are you talking about? What does this jargon mean in layman terms?
Oh.
Oops.
We did lose you. Good. Yeah. Thank you. Oh yeah, but I totally get that though. I mean, like, especially working with programmers, because they do actually talk in jargon every now and then. So I think that's definitely something that I can relate with. Like, people just assuming that you do know a term or something. So yeah, that's a good point to everybody. Like, just trying to figure out like how to ask the correct questions. That's a very good point for sure.
So most of the time, I'm just searching. I just input the jargon. What does this tag mean in the context of the game or in Unity? Because certain jargon means different thing in different tools.
Mm-hmm.
So you just use the tool like Unity, whatever jargon you want, just plug it in the search bar, and
yeah, does totally make sense. Back to the game for a moment. We are actually, so people voted, and we are going to be having Meteor Shower. Yes, I don't know why I said yes. I don't actually even like Meteor Shower that much. But it is the shortest catastrophe, so that's nice. And we do have a animal attack happening here. I'm actually gonna send Sigyn justify that. Yes, we have a building under attack. Let's go to the world map a little bit. But yeah, so Ella, like you said, you've created a few different kind of mods. So you have the resource factory, and then you have the event, and you have the super storage mod, right? So those are all quite different mods, like when you think about like what they give the players and everything like that. But so let's say like we open up the game completely, everything and anything is possible, and you can like how to do it. So if you could create any kind of mod at all for our game, what mod would it be? Like what would it do? What's the thing with it?
Yeah, I guess if we are into the survival sort of city builder genre, so if you base your experience on Vanish, you can create all sorts of resources.
Yeah.
So people will go crazy, all sorts of plants and animals and whatever wildlife you want. And of course, those transport people would want to create vehicles, whatever
Oh.
vehicle they like. Yeah. I think ultimately also might be if we can create our own custom maps. So what
Oh.
sort of what capabilities that we can create our custom maps and
Yeah.
difficulty and base and the scenarios as well.
Yeah.
Custom scenarios, yeah.
So a lot of different things for you as well.
Different things. I like to try all the different things. So I've been going through all the different mod tools, capabilities. Certain things I couldn't figure out yet. So it's just a lot of trial and error still.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think that's always life. That's even like in full-on game development, it's a lot of trial and error. Like when you think about like back in early access when we were doing the trading, like the trade menu itself. Like I don't know, I don't remember even. I think we did it 3 or 4 times, like in total. We were updating it in like the next patch and then the next patch and then the next patch. So I think it was like something that we as well as game developers had to kind of do trial and error on it and just make sure that it worked as well as it could work. So that's definitely a different kind of thing where it's life. I think it's life, trial and error, isn't it?
Especially for this game, you guys are very ambitious in targeting the different platforms. So I don't know how you are able to create games that target all the consoles and PCs and
yeah, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's a different kind of beast to tackle when you have to think about like not just PC but just like even if you just add in one console platform, like let's say we would do it like just in early access, we were doing it on Xbox and PC, so those were our platforms, and it definitely it does provide its own challenges just because we have to think about like the UI in a different way. You have to have the controller in mind, like okay, so yes, if a player has a mouse they can click everywhere, but if you have a controller, you can't really click everywhere with it. I mean, technically you could, but that would be a whole different kind of worms for the players. Like it would not be a nice game to play. So we are for sure trying to, like, we want to make sure that the game is playable for all the platforms and everything like that. Sadly, no mod support yet on the consoles, but I don't like. I mean, I would really want to see it happening, but I don't know if we can make it happen, just because of all the limitations. So, Ella, do you actually play our game like at vanilla version at all, or is it always like with your mods installed, or how do you like our game?
Yeah. To learn the vanilla games first. I just finished the Forever Winter scenario.
Ah.
Because you are limited with the planks, yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
will really rethink your strategy in that scenario.
Yeah. That's one of the definitely one of the big ones. Like it's a hard one. There's no question about it. We have an event chat. Anybody has an opinion on where or how we should vote? Please do vote now. I'm still playing, so in this situation, I can actually still choose to do something else if I don't like what you guys are voting. But Ella's voting as well. I don't know if that's a little bit cheating, though. That kind of feels a little bit like cheating. I don't know why, but love it. Oh my gosh.
We always played vanilla first to figure out what we want to change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Otherwise, just changing for the sake of change really doesn't work for me. I
Yeah.
mean, there must be a purpose of why the mod exists, right? Otherwise, people won't download it.
But yeah, Ella, you actually did an event mod as well, right? I think it's Windfall, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to like give a little sneak? Because like I said, I'm really rubbish at modding, so I haven't really properly tested them. So like, just explain to me and obviously everybody who's watching, what's the mod like?
It's just to give me more resources, basically. So it was to learn the events system because
Yeah.
I was confused when the events keep repeating when we were during early access.
Mm-hmm.
So even when we had built the school building, for example, why does it get the prompt that they ask you to create building? So from doing the events modding,
Yeah.
I figured out that the events and the game data doesn't have any visibility of each. They don't know about each other's
Yeah.
existence. So yeah, so I think that's one of the feedback that we keep receiving from players, that the event resource numbers does not relate to what the toolbar, the info bar says.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's
That's one of the game
yeah.
design decisions, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's partially, I think it was a technical solution as well as much as a design solution. We actually at some point we did implement a system that was looking at like how far you were and try to scale the resource and everything like that so that it would be a little bit more accurate. So I know like people have been always saying like how it feels stupid that like you might be in day 364 or something, I don't know, and then like you'll get an event that asks for like 4 fishes or something, and that's like, who doesn't have 4 fishes at that point? Like everybody has them. But yeah, Ella, so like we've been talking about like the mods that you've already done and a little bit of the mods that you would really like to do and stuff. But so do you have anything that you're working on right now that you might want to like give us a little tips on, or anything like that?
I mentioned the zooming thing that I'm trying to learn.
Yeah.
Like whether I can control the camera and
Yeah.
how to incorporate that, and also how to, on whether the coding comes before the game mod is loaded. So if I could do that.
Yeah.
So one of the mods that I did for the Sims 3 was a no intro. So I was trying to figure out if I can do that. I do a no intro for this one. So but I figured out the mod has to be loaded after the game mod screen. You have to click the enable, right?
Yeah.
You have to check it off. So I don't know how that's gonna work. So
Okay, yeah. I mean, you do have more or less direct access to us. So if you have any questions, do remember to post them to us, and we'll try and make sure that we can give you an answer. Not sure if we can always give an answer, but we'll at least try our best and everything. So we are. I would like to say that we are really active on the forums as a game studio. I don't know, I haven't really looked at so many other studios, like how much are they doing, but I would like to think that we are pretty active on the forums and we're trying to answer. So on anybody from the viewers right now who are thinking about like starting modding or wanting to do more mods and everything like that, I know that Ella is super active there, so I'm sure they'll help, but we'll also try and do our best and help with modding, and at least if there's an issue with it clearly that you can't, like you don't know where to go to, you can't do something that you really want to do, ask the questions in the forums. So Ella, when you do play your game, vanilla or modded, do you have any like specific things that you always do? Like, do you have kind of like a base layout that you like to do or anything like that? Have you noticed having anything like that?
I think if we play a game for a long time, we do tend to create these habits. Yeah, and then certain things we have to allow for the terrain and the map to dictate the placements.
Yeah,
So
of
certain
course.
things always go for medical tent first. Always go for food first. I mean, it's a survival game after all. So.
Yes, that is true. That is very much true. It's funny. I do have to say I always go for like the medical things as first from the tech tree. Food is a really close second. Sometimes though, I do have to say sometimes you've got to go for the metal. Like you want to get that thing started immediately and everything like that. But medical things, that's for sure the number one thing. I don't know, like, considering you've been with us from early access, so you've seen a lot of different phases from the game. You've also had to kind of adapt your playstyle maybe as well a little bit with all the changes.
Yeah, I think it also depends very much on the difficulty, on the whether you are playing a custom mode or the normal mode.
Yes.
Yeah, so certain things you can fudge around if you're at 50% difficulty, and at 20%, one mistake and you die and you have to restart you have to restart. Hopefully you have an earlier save, so
yeah. That is absolutely true. Have you been playing the new like you mentioned you played the Eternal Ventures scenario, but have you been playing with the custom game settings at all?
Yes, so once I figure out the trick that some of the tweaks doesn't change the percentage level, then it makes more sense to tweak certain things and leave certain things be.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think we wanted to kind of give a lot of different kind of options, but depends obviously on the player as well. Like some people, I know this was one of the biggest things. Everybody wanted the extra challenging, super hard mode that you can get. So I know that was one of the things that a lot of people were asking about, and I would like to say that we were at least kind of able to deliver a super hard mode. I don't know. I think so.
Yeah, but I think there's still some things that like if you go super difficult, and there's some maps that you have a lot of plastic but not enough wooden ruins, and if you make the mistake of selecting the barren or no soil or whatever, there's no trees. So no trees and no wooden ruins, that's it for the game, unless you get your trade center up quickly.
That's true.
Then
that is
goodbye
true.
to that save.
Yeah, that is true. There's a lot of, I mean, Surviving the Aftermath, when you think about it, it has a lot of RNG in place as well. Like that's, I think, one of the reasons why we've as well, like, struggled a little bit with trying to make it as hard as possible and everything, because there's some aspects that we just can't control completely. So that's always a little bit of a challenge there for sure. But so when you think about the custom game, do you have a specific one that you really like, or do you really hate? Like, is there a favorite or even both, favorite and the one that you don't like that much? Can you remember?
I haven't ventured too much into the custom settings. But when I tried, it's just to balance out the percentages. Because you can make it to 0% or 350% doesn't mean that you should, because of the RNG, the way the RNG works in this game. So.
Yeah, that is true. That is completely true. Yeah, like the development of the game, but also, like I said before, it's been amazing to have like you as a modder, like dedicated to your game and just like being a part of the journey. And I also I have to say, like, when we were doing in early access all those like new updates and everything like that, I would always try and make sure that I was watching the forums and like the discussions around the modders as well, to see like what issues in the gameplay were you fixing, because that's kind of where we want to be fixing as well, but not obviously, like, we don't want to take away your work, but if it's something that requires other people to fix it, then we have to at least take a look at it. So I don't know if we've ever really specifically fixed those kind of issues, but we do try and keep an eye out for those. Definitely, just want to make sure
that's my motto as well. I don't want to mod anything that should be fixed in game. So if it's a bug, obviously it's not gonna shouldn't be fixed by a mod. Should be fixed by a patch by you guys. So modding has by its nature supposed to be cosmetic, right? But there are certain things that people like to push the envelope, so there's still going to be scripting and everything else. So we'll see how it goes. I think the pace of the patches during early access was also the reason why a lot of modders drop out, because it was too frequent and we can't keep up. I think now
it's a better situation, because we're not pushing out them month by month. No way. That's like I hope we never go back to that. I can tell you that it was a whole hassle. I mean, just making sure, like even just like for those who know game development, they know that doing anything takes a lot of time, especially and with the game being live already, because we wanted to be so conscious about the people's saves. We wanted to make sure that we're not breaking them. I mean, we did have to break them a few times and we tried to make this as clear everywhere so that people would know, like, right now we are going to be breaking these saves, and that was unfortunate, but it had to be done. But I have to say, I have to give kudos to my team and say that we managed to do it surprisingly few times, all in all, when you consider how many patches we put out. I also just realized that we are actually out of time. I don't know where the hour went already. Oh dear. So maybe we're following up because the City Skylines stream before us was a little bit late. So yeah. First of all, thank you everybody in the chat who participated. Like I said before, Ella has been a super special guest on this stream, and also just a special person to have with the game, constantly modding and everything like that. And she has been an inspiration and has also provided me links directly to the workshops that have her mods. So after this stream, we will be posting on social media, and we're going to post those links so that you can directly find them. Might take an hour or so, but they will be on our social media accounts like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So check them out if you are interested in Ella's already made mods. And if you want to learn more about modding, please do check the forum, check the wiki pages. Ella has provided so much information already on those. And as we said in the stream, we will be checking those out, and I'm sure Ella will be answering any questions anybody might have as well in there. But yeah, thank you, Ella, so much for coming to the stream this week with me. I can't even speak right now. I'm just trying to get everything as fast as possible. But yeah, thank you so much, and thank you so much for your constant modding and the support that you've given all the other players as well on the forums. It is such a heartwarming thing to have you with us with this whole journey of a game.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, thank you for
no problem at all.
My worldwide debut.
This was, yeah, for sure, yeah. But yeah, anyway, we're gonna be back next week with, I think Matti will probably be back. I'm not sure who's gonna be guest with him, but tune in next week at the same time, same place. Thank you, everybody. Have a really nice evening. Goodbye.